Hello, my name is Joshua Devalle. Today we're going to be going over mental health associated with technology use. We'll be discussing the issues that society has with the interaction of technology and its association with their mental health. To begin with, we will cover many cases, studies, and methods revealing the current state of this issue. Then we'll touch upon some studies done and their results after. Lastly, some ethical approaches and our conclusion. Some background and significance of this problem can be demonstrated in a way to inform those in society of the reality digital technology has instilled certain mental impairments and disorders in young children and young adults. Dating as far back as the 1930s, children were more prone to sleep loss, anxiety, cognitive, and emotional problems after long exposure to media content such as movies and news. Some were exhibiting even trauma like symptoms, making it difficult for parents to calm their children down in certain situations. Teenagers in modern times are also struggling with media content. Now, on top of news and movies, they have access to the World Wide Web, social media, and much more. Unfortunately, social media content has had a toll on their self esteem. A study with two adults about life satisfaction and Facebook usage concluded with signs of lowered self esteem. This was caused by the exposure of a false ideal lifestyle that they idolized, which resulted in a fear of judgment by others and bullying through Facebook. In many of these cases, the participants show signs of fear, anxiety, and negative self worth, with obsessive use of social media and other uses of digital technology. Let's move on and discuss about the association between social media use and depression among US young adults. The association between social media use and depression is still in the works and has been getting a lot of attention. An assessment was done with 1,787 people from ages ranging from 19 to 32. The participants would agree via email and receive payment for this study, which was approved by the University of Pittsburgh International. They were asked to report their total time spent on social media and were asked questions based on a GFK knowledge panel model that was known to be accurate. The participants would be asked using a 4-item scale developed by the Institution of Health Roadmap Initiative, whose aim was to provide precision, valid, and reliable questionnaires. In conclusion, 44.5% showed no signs of depression, while 29.2 were classified as medium signs of depression, and 26.3% were classified as depressed. For a study done in 2016, this is still very concerning that even just half of these participants showed any sign of depression or considered having depression. Another study was done by the University of Glasgow in Scotland. They surveyed 467 adolescents with findings resulting in poorer sleep quality and a decline in control over their anxiety and self esteem. The contributing factor to their anxiety, depression, and lowered self esteem stemmed from the poor sleep they were having. Their sleep quality was becoming affected due to non-stop alerts, notifications, updates, and social media usage that messed up their sleeping pattern, causing later and later sleep schedules. 86% of adolescents have their devices right there next to them while they sleep on their nightstands, and this seems to pose a pretty serious factor in this study. It could be argued that the participants had other concerns for their sleeping patterns to be affected so much. For example, if you would think, obviously, since they're in school, they had a lot of schoolwork to explain their altered sleep patterns. However, though, these participants that were done for this study were withdrawn from their school studies. It is possible, I think, that keeping your phones away from you while you're going to sleep, instead of having them next to you on your nightstand, it could have prevented this, or it could have helped at least. Having a better sleep schedule, just not having it in your room, maybe even having like a traditional alarm clock if you need. A lot of people use their phones as alarm clocks, but having like a traditional alarm clock would help you because you wouldn't have like notifications to worry about looking at. And I do have that problem. I have my phone next to me all the time during my sleep schedule and all during the night, and I do get affected from it. To provide a counter argument, a study was done during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it had a surprising result, but not super surprising. In short, the pandemic itself was much more effective at encouraging an external source of anxiety, depression, and many more other health issues, consequently leaving the study with mixed results and a false conclusion. It was difficult to gain accurate results to self reported measures in this situation, as the participants had other matters comorbidly affecting their answers to some questionnaires provided. This exemplifies the argument that it is difficult to gain accurate results when it comes to human emotions, such as a broad issue as mental health, and it begs the question of how clear can these results become with the way that they're being executed and the way that situations around them are foregoing. The next topic covered in the relationship between addictive use in social media and video games. Although video games do have a positive attributes going for them, there is still a pretty big problem with addiction alongside. Some positive attributes consist of providing entertainment, an increase in business association, cognitive skill, social capital, and social interactions. However, being overly concerned about online activities driven by uncontrollable motivations to perform and devoting so much time and effort to where it impairs other important life areas can be a side effect. This study challenged the notion that addiction only involves the ingestion of psychoactive substances, which were revealed to become superseded by empirical evidence demonstrating that individuals can become addicted to just specific behaviors. Although the evidence in these current studies is limited, there has been an abundance of studies made during this one. This one consists of an open access link to a web based cross sectional survey that's focused on several addictive behaviors. This link was published to 5 online Norwegian newspaper articles nationwide. 25,533 individuals participated in those, and those who gave limited answers would not be counted on the data file. The participants were between the ages of 16 to 88, but yeah, a large number of them were actually from 16 to 30. 65% of them were female, 35% were male, 65.3 were in a relationship, and the rest were single. They were asked questions such as, how often during the last 6 months do you play games to forget about life? And most they were answered on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 answering like never and 5 answering very often. In conclusion, the results suggested that symptoms of underlying psychiatric disorders and associated with addictive social networking and video gaming A lot of data suggests a lower level of depression in the usage of both the usage of social media for women and video games for men. However, addictive use is confirmed for both, and those with ADHD, OCD, prior depression, are single, and younger age. This has become a problem in many places, and China is one of them trying to do something about it. China is regulating an amount of time kids can be spending on playing video games to 3 hours per week. Prior to this regulation, they already had a regulation for kids just to play 1 hour and a half per day. So compounded on this is 3 hours per week. So this regulation is intended to curb gaming addiction. The World Health Organization first recognized an addictive behavior pattern known as gaming addiction disorder in 2018, which is characterized someone suffering from the disorder as exhibiting significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, and other important areas of functioning. Tencent, one of the largest gaming companies in China, has even implemented a facial recognition feature to their mobile games in order to identify children playing. This is rather a evasive strategy to implement and could be argued as unethical to the user's privacy. All in all, this is still an approach to better the problem and can influence the world in making changes. To go as far as facial recognition software features could be crossing a fine line to say the least. However, we must use ethical approaches to these situations and use that knowledge to establish an answer to what is right ethically. Technology is changing, and we need to dynamically change and learn how to use them in an ethical way. Walter Manner, in his research, describes levels of justifications, and those issues are related to how we must drastically teach those ethically while the growth of technology continues to expand. To conclude, we can say that there's a ton of media out there to consume, and it is important to take advantage of it in a manner to avoid misuse of it. Some studies were very thorough, and some could have been skewed by external circumstances. For example, the pandemic and how it has affected us mentally, and how self assessed questionnaires could be affected by that. All in all, regulations brought up by China is a good step and could exhibit an approach in the right direction. Thank you guys. I appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed.